The route for members starts in a large meadow in front of the Strania Primary School. In the first 100 meters of the race, the runners have to cross the meadow, pass by a school, and reach the road. They continue running on a wide asphalt road for a good kilometer, after which they arrive to the Kamniška Bistrica and Černivec crossroads. The flatland ends near the Calcit Company. The first meters of the Macadam Road toward St. Peter's Church are extremely steep. Behind the hunting lodge, the Macadam Road levels out, but again becomes steeper right after runners pass the parking area. There are still 10 kilometers to the finishing point. The Macadam Road continues to ascend, gradually in many bends. The runners cross the courtyard of the farm Pri Žagorjevich. There are still 9 kilometers to the finishing point. The start of female members and juniors is at the farmhouse near Prelesje, which offers a beautiful view of St. Primož Church. Soon afterwards, the route turns off the Macadam Road and continues on a cart track in the shadow of the forest that takes the runners to St. Primož Church across a gentle slope. There are another 7 kilometers to the finishing point. Here, competitors will be offered snacks. From St. Primož Church onwards, the route changes into a mountain path. The first kilometer of the path rises gently, follows the steepest part with a 20% slope. Here, running becomes even more difficult due to the challenging rocky terrain and rocky steps. On a small clearing on Sushave, where the cottage Mitskina Baita once stood, the original path crosses the Pasja Pech mountain, turns left. In certain areas, this path is fairly dangerous. For this reason, the route leads across a technically less demanding and safer terrain that crosses the Pircheva Planina peak, and from there the route continues straight up. Standing on the highest peak, the runners can see the finishing point on their left side, but it is still far away. This is followed by a several 100-meter long descent. The first few meters across the rocks are technically demanding. Later, descent becomes easier and finally ends at a crossroad where the route of junior female competitors joins. There are still 4 kilometers to the finishing point. The starting line of junior female competitors is on a large clearing on Kisovets Mountain. The first few 100 meters of the route cross a grass carpet. Then the route continues in the forest and joins the route of the members. From the junction of the two routes onwards, and another kilometer of the route runs through the forest. This part is technically relatively demanding. The rocky levels make the running even more difficult as they dictate the length of the step. On such terrain, the athlete can demonstrate his mountain and running preparedness. A runner unused to such conditions has a lot to lose here. On the other hand, an experienced mountain runner can gain considerable advantage in this sport. There are another 3 kilometers to the finish from the point where the route moves from the forest to the meadows, which are characteristic of the Velika Planina mountain. Here the route turns towards the mountain hut on the right, referred to by locals as Prozhagarts. Behind the hut, the track levels out and crosses the meadow. It leads the runners across a narrow path between shepherd cottages and ascends to the mountain hut Yarski Dom and continues to the mountain hut Domzhalski Dom. After a short, gentle descent across the grass carpet in front of the shepherd's cottages, the runners can already see the finishing point, which is only 2 kilometers away. The route continues across uneven path between the pastures. A gentle slope and plain in between allow the runner to gather the last atoms of strength in their tired muscles to conquer the last kilometer. At the pond, the track turns left, crosses the mountain hut settlement, and continues to the last ascent. The track disappears between the grass carpet and solitary rocks. The ascent is slightly less rigid on the mountain pass, from where there are another 250 difficult and steep meters to the finishing point. After having conquered the route, The runners can find shelter on the meadow amphitheater behind the finishing point.